Hi darlings, thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. And today I have a Bible journaling process for you in my art journal. And I am going to be journaling the Kingsman Redeemer. This is a devotion by Aaron Davis for the June Creative Retreat Faith Art Box. And I'm going to be actually answering reflection question number 1 that asks us to consider the choices of Boaz and the unmarried kingsman. This is found in Ruth chapter 4, verses 2 through 10. And I wanted to do like a bit of a compare and contrast here. So after reading and taking some notes of just comparing the different characteristics and priorities of each redeemer, I am going to get this down here in my art journal. So I am going to zoom you in so you guys can see a little closer. I have all of my elements here. Some of the Faith-Filled Digitals already cut up. And let's get to it. Let's dig in. Okay, darling, so I pull out some coordinating inks from Creative Retreat and some of my contour brushes. I'm going to be working first on my background, and I love this stencil, and I wanted to use this with the colors that I thought would go best, but I wanted to use lighter colors. So I'm using the color Cotton Candy from Creative Retreat, and I'm also using the color Waterfall Blue. You guys, I don't know why it took me so long to pick up this color. It's so pretty. So what I'm doing here is I am using little pieces of paper to cover up the leaf portion of the stencil so that I can only blend in the pink into the actual flower portion of the stencil. That's called masking. And so I'm going to mask that flower first, and now first I masked the leaves, now I'm masking the flowers. That way I can go ahead and add the waterfall blue to the leaves here. I love that I use this combination of more pastel colors because I wanted a light and subtle background because I was going to be doing a lot of writing on the page, and using a lot of color would have maybe made it look a little bit too bold. So I wanted to go with a soft touch. So I'm going to do the same thing up here on the left-hand side corner. Masking is something that I love to do, and you can use washi tape, you can use pieces of paper, and they also sell masking tape on like scrapbook.com that you can also use. I have not picked that up, but that's something I'm going to add to my list, especially after loving the way this turned out. Okay, so that is the top one there. And now I'm going to take a look at blending in some of the leftover waterfall blue that's on my brush onto the page. This is just gonna knock down some of that white. Okay, I love the little title starter from Kingsman Redeemer, and I also wanted to use this journaling card from the Faith-Filled Digitals because it has sort of a list, and I'm going to be doing a comparing and contrasting of the different redeemers that are found in Scripture. I am going to be comparing the unnamed Redeemer, Boaz the Redeemer, and then Jesus Christ, our Redeemer. So I'm just gluing some of these faithful elements down. The Faithful Digitals, they are so versatile, and I love that you can do a full page just using Faithful Digitals. And some of the girls on my Creative Retreat team or on the Creative Retreat team also use Faithful Digitals exclusively, and I love how they do that. So I'm using some of the labels so I can kind of divide the different and add titles to the different sections that I'll be listing. I'm starting off with the unnamed Redeemer. And some of the things I wrote to him, some of the priorities that he had, was that he was worried more about his estate and his own treasures that he already had. And he also left the fate of the widow to someone else. And then in contrast with Boaz, he hurried to make Ruth his wife. And he was also worried about Ruth's well-being and the well-being of his mother-in-law or her mother-in-law. And also at the end, he takes full responsibility as Redeemer with all that comes with it. Unlike the unnamed Redeemer that was kind of thinking more about himself and what would then happen to him, Boaz, in contrast, takes full responsibility. And then we have Jesus Christ, who's our Redeemer. And I love the list I put together because he stepped in to restore me. He gave his life as a ransom for mine. He didn't care about my current condition or my future mistakes, and he desired to bring me in as his wife. This reflection question really made me sit back and think about Jesus as my Redeemer, because we see the example of man, two men that are redeemers here in this story. And then when you compare and contrast that to Jesus Christ, the ultimate Redeemer of our souls, of our lives, the restorer of life, you can see how much God's love is so much greater and surpasses all that man can ever do. In John 10:17-18, Jesus Christ says, "I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again." Jesus had the authority, and he had to make a decision. And his decision was to step in and be the restorer of life for you and me. How beautiful is that? So as you can see here, all of these notes that I just shared with you from my Bible study, I added them here. And then I did Jesus Christ specifically in that journaling card. And then I'm adding the scripture from John chapter 10:17-18 down there under that. Lastly, I grabbed my devotional and I'll cut out this section of the reflection questions. And I'm going to cut out reflection question number 1. That's the one that I'm actually focusing on in this Bible journaling entry. And I'll glue that to the top there. I'll add a label at the bottom to add my date stamp as well. And that wraps up this page. That is it, darlings. That is how it turned out. And I love that I kept it simple so that I can get all of my notes down, because being in the Word is the most important part of the creative process. And I love that to be reflected in my art journaling. So if you're new here, I hope you consider subscribing. Hit the like button and notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you so much for joining me each and every video, darlings. God bless. Bye.